Because I was worried that there'd be that same old Lions sentiment. And I sent a tweet out before the game because as the game got closer, I started to get more and more of that. It's such a big ask to win what, 4 in a row on the road?
Yeah.
In the end, it doesn't happen.
9 out of 10 is what people wanted.
Yeah, like it doesn't happen in this league. It just doesn't. It's hard to do. And as the game got closer, I got more and more of that feeling. And I sent a tweet out, and I stand by it, even with the way that the game played out. And the defensive line, who we celebrated a lot, they got beat down.
They got manhandled.
They got beat down. The linebacking core was non-existent.
Non-existent.
And they'll be the first ones to tell you that, I'm sure.
For sure.
And yes, it was disappointing in the way that it happened, but it is still the one thing though that really capped it off for me. Well, what I was most disappointed about was everything went the way it needed to go, and you didn't take advantage. Yep. And everyone keeps talking about this Lions-Packers game like they're excited. I don't think it's going to mean anything.
It might not. We need one loss out of both the Commanders and
the
Seahawks. Or the Giants to lose both of their last 2 games.
Yeah, and it's just not. It's not going to go down that way. Because you look at the schedule too. Washington's got the Browns at home and the Cowboys, who are going to be landlocked into their spot.
Yep.
Who will just sit everybody. You got the Seahawks at home with the Jets and the Rams, but the resurgent Rams. And that's you know what, to me that was the biggest gut punch of the weekend.
Yes.
I could deal with the Lions losing, but old Russ Wilson.
Yeah.
You bum.
Getting the Rams a 51 spot.
Russ Wilson is washed, and it was so bad they fired their coach yesterday. And you know what? Good. But you can't fire Russell Wilson. You're stuck with them.
Yeah.
You are stuck with them. So Broncos, you got what you deserve. You have no draft pick.
That's right.
You have Russ Wilson paying him a bajillion dollars. Let's ride. Yeah, that was the biggest disappointment to me over it wasn't even the Lions.
No.
It wasn't, because we were playing with house money.
Yes.
Like, let's be real. And the moral of the story is this, guys, and I would think that to a man in that organization, they would tell you this. You can't start 1-6 and make the playoffs. You can't. You just can't.
I mean, that's what's going to come back to haunt them, right? Because they had a couple games at the beginning of the year, like at home versus Seattle, where you scored 45 points and lost. And that's one of those that they'd really like to have right now. And to ask the team to go from 1-6 and finish the season 9-1, that is a very, very tough ask. It just, the way that they were playing before, it looked very, very possible. It looked like they could sustain it. But what happened at Carolina on Saturday was, it was biblical. I didn't expect it in a million years. I did not expect Chuba Hubbard and Deontay Foreman to run for, basically those two to run for 320 yards up and down the field. It was
started from the first play.
From the very first.
The first play, I think Chuba Hubbard or Deontay Foreman broke off a 20-yard gain, and I was like, oh, Jesus.
Bro, I could have got 4.5 yards per carry behind that with those holes in the Carolina Panthers run defense. They were running 10, 15 yards down the field before they even got touched, before they even got pursued. And that was the thing. It was just so easy. They were just so easily blown off the ball by that not very great Carolina Panthers offensive line. I know that every team is they're going to have sort of a bad performance, like a stinker every once in a while. But to get outrushed 320-45, did you guys ever think that was possible?
They were on pace to break the NFL record for rushing yards at halftime.
Well, the Carolina Panthers set their franchise record for rushing yards in a game. And no, this wasn't the Cam Newton and Jonathan Stewart Panthers. This wasn't the Christian McCaffrey Panthers. This wasn't the D'Angelo Williams Panthers. Like I keep saying, it was the Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard Carolina Panthers running back duo. Just inexcusable, but they got to bounce back.
Saw D'Angelo Williams in the Motor City Bowl when he was playing for Memphis.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, he was a beast at Memphis.
He was.
He put up like 240 in the game. He was an absolute monster in that football game. Peaceful Tim says, Rodrigo's a rookie. Alex was the old Alex. If he not a winning safety. Okuda still learning. And look, I'm not – and I know that the SOL crowd was locked and loaded. They had that tweet saved in the drafts. Like they were ready to fire away. And – again, for me, this whole ride was house money, and I don't think they're going to get home. I don't think that they're going to make the playoffs. It's just too much has to happen. And oh, by the way, it's non-negotiable. You do have to go to Lambeau and win, no matter what.
No matter what.
You know, what the Packers have the Vikings at home this weekend, right?
Yes, they do.
So when they beat the Vikings, because they will,
They probably will.
it's all on the line for them as well.
And I saw a stat that Aaron Rodgers in the Matt LaFleur era has not lost a game in December.
Right. Loses a shit ton of them in January,
Yeah,
though.
a lot in January, but none in December.
Especially if there's like, I don't know, a trip to the Super Bowl on the line.
Yeah, anything, or he's playing San Francisco.
Yeah.
Anything like that.
Anything like that. Any kind of real stakes attached to it. But speaking of tweets that were loaded in the drafts, the Aaron Rodgers defenders were out, he's never lost a game in December. Yeah, he never wins in January either.
Yeah.
So piss off.
That's fair.
So those were the two things I was most crushed by. Number one, the Broncos and the action figure hair of Russell Wilson, and then number two, the fact that it looks like we're going to be robbed of that whole Lions Packers thing, but maybe that was for the better. I don't know.
Maybe it just sucks. Like you talked about, what killed the Lions obviously was the trenches in the defense, and you had Jalen Carter there available, looking pretty good, and then Russell Wilson happened, and now Jalen Carter is probably a forgotten memory of Detroit Lions fans because it's not looking like he's going to be there unless, put a wig on Fish, go get some pictures of Jalen Carter, circle him around the internet, maybe he drops a little bit.
Yeah. I'm just saying, maybe collaborate with them, have him put on a gas mask or something.
Laramie Tunsil's having a pretty damn good career, so...
Chief says we drafted 5 defensive tackles the past 3 years, and now we're looking to draft another. LOL. Maybe we should scout a little bit better and do a little bit better job researching player history instead of injury-prone players like Levi. Oh, so Chief, he's got to hit every draft pick for you, huh? Every single one's got to be a hit. All right, I see where you're at. Let me know all those GMs with the 100% hit rate in the draft. And oh, by the way, they had to take him there. They had to take Onwuzurike there because he wasn't coming back to him.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wanted him. Talk to anybody around the NFL circles. He was the big intrigue guy. Didn't work out. That's one. Like, come on, Chief.
And it could still work out. He could come back next year. It's back injuries with big guys, though, does, as Sam Flanagan would say, gives you some cause for pause. But he could come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't hold my breath on Levi, but that's okay.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.